All praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakar Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel. And this is going to be a lesson on how, or a lesson on something I've noticed, that all these different nations, man, especially Esau, they all want to have their struggle story, right? About how their people climbed out the depths of hell to make it here, or to make it into this way, how they are now, how they all went through this in the past, how they all went through that in the past, right? And you'll notice, or I've noticed anyway, that they always compare it to us, especially the Southern Kingdom, man. They always compare it to the Southern Kingdom, but they also compare it to the Native Americans and the Mexicans, Latinos. They compare it to the South American experience, man, or the Native American experience all the time. Or they compare it to so-called black people, especially African Americans, man. And they all want their own struggle story about how their people are oppressed. And they all, whenever we mention whatever we went through, they always want to try and mention what they've so-called went through, right? But they always trying to compare it to our people and trying to copy things that we've said in the past to try and seem like they're more oppressed than us, man. And it never works, because we're not talking about our oppression and all the things that we're going through as like an act. Like our thing is genuinely, it's like a genuine path that Yahweh's put us on, man. Like before we even existed as a nation, 400 years of slavery was already predicted for our existence, man. And I'll prove it right now. Genesis chapter 15 and verse 13, and he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Now, this statement was made before the Israelites even existed. Genesis chapter 15, and let's start from verse, just to get to the point, verse 2. And Abram said, which Abram was the name of Abraham before his name was changed from Abram to Abraham, which Abram, I believe, means exalted father, or father exalted, and Abraham means father of a multitude. Genesis chapter 15 and verse 2, and Abram said, Lord Yahweh, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? So this statement was made, the statement that I read later on in this verse, in this chapter, was made when Abraham didn't even have no physical children of his own. And the steward of my house, and I go childless. Excuse me, seeing I go childless. And the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus. And Abram said, behold, to me thou hast given no seed, meaning I ain't got no children. And lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of Yahweh came unto him, saying, this shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth of thine own bowels, meaning of your own almonds, man, shall be thine heir. Now, the heirs, right, which this is first talking about Isaac, even though Ishmael was Abraham's first son, is actually talking about Isaac being the heir, right? But then later on, it goes to explain more about his descendants, and it goes into how 400 years of captivity is prophesied for them, man. So our nation was literally born to catch hell until the time where we don't catch hell, man. And there's other places in the scriptures that can prove this, right? But like we're completely, holy means separate, right? We're completely separate people from everyone else. We don't have to put on a show to make ourselves be oppressed. We don't have to make our so-called black women wear wigs to try and fulfill the Isaiah 3 and 16 to verse 24 prophecy about how the women are going to have a scab and have boldness. We don't have to fake the funk. They're literally, like, you think the women of our nation want to be bold. If the women of our nation had long hair, there's nothing wrong with the quality of the hair, really, ever. It's just that it's not long enough. And that's deliberately done by Yahweh. For thou art unholy, Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6, for thou art unholy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Now, this is not like, because of this, we don't have to fake to be cursed. We don't have to fake the funk. We don't have to go back thousands of years to show that we're oppressed. We can go to yesterday. You know what I mean? We don't have to go back. Oh, well, in 2,000 years ago, so what does Slav mean? What does Slav mean? We can go back 2 minutes ago in some cases, man, and show that we're oppressed. We can go back last week. We don't have to go back centuries ago to show something that we went through. We don't have to fake like we're oppressed, man. We are. Not because we want to be, because we are. Because who the hell would want to be? Well, Esau, because he's sick in the head, he wants to try and fake like he's oppressed so he can have an excuse to harm and hurt people, but he ain't oppressed. You have all these Edomites complaining, oh, it's a two-tier policing. It's two... Mate, when you look up and you see who's doing the policing, it's your own face, so don't say nothing. You can't try and blame no one else but you. When you talk, the government's doing it wrong to people. The government ain't accepting an acceptability. All right. Who's the government though? What do they look like? You. So all you're doing is proving further that you're corrupt. So when we're bonding you out and saying you lower level Edomites are corrupt, and you're like, it's not us, it's still it. No, we're not talking about elite level corruption. We're talking about low level bum corruption. That's the only level that you can do. The only level of corruption that you're available to do because you ain't got enough power is the low level bum peon level. And that's the oppression that we're talking about on certain occasions. Never mind the high level systematic one, right? And even you low level clown Edomites, you've helped with the systematic low level one. Because you're part of the system, man. And as long as you was always getting your belly full, you never had anything to say. But now that they're starting to jack you up as well, all of a sudden it's us against the elites. All of a sudden the system is a problem. All of a sudden now you understand what the system's about. They're not giving enough people. There's not enough jobs. I'm living paycheck to pay. I make this amount of money a week, and then the pound just ain't stretching. The dollar just ain't stretching. Like tell me how people can live like this. Well, you never cared about how we lived like it, did you? You never cared about how we was living, did you? They're just not hiring. They're just the jobs ain't the job market. The job market. They're getting rid of people's jobs for AI. Like so now, if Esau made like a DEI for humans, yeah, a DEI for humans, so that AI can't take your job, and you Edomites went on it, are you gonna be happy with being called a DEI and making out like the only reason why you got a job is because you're human? Yeah, the only reason why you got that job instead of Android 4517 is because you're a human now, right? And that's a disadvantage. And Android 4714 is gonna bun you out and say the only reason why you got the job is because you're human. You're gonna be accepting of that, because that's what you devils did to so-called black people, right? Oh, the only reason why you got the job is because you're black, not because they actually got the qualifications, just because they're black. And they're not even black. Their skin's brown. So-called black. And you ain't even white. Your skin's pink and red. So-called white. Right? Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. We're separate from you people, and we don't have to beg it to be oppressed, man. We don't have to beg it. We don't have to beg. And all you people want to do, everyone's been through slavery at certain times in history. Everyone's not had a job in certain times in history. So get over it that you ain't got a job now, and get over it that you can't feed yourself right now, and that everyone's had to live and struggle for a bit of time. So get over it and handle that you're going through your phase, man. Pull yourself up, yeah. Double knot your New Balances, and get on with it, mate. The same way you say it to everyone else. Deal with it, mate. Yeah, the same hatred and vitriol that y'all come with everyone else with. Get on with it, mate. Keep calm and keep calm and carry on. Yeah, the same hatred that you spew out to everyone else, you deal with it, man. Get on with your life. The same crybaby stuff you make like we're just a bunch of crybabies. No, get on with it, man. Get on with it, mate. Now I'm looking for a next scripture, man. That there hasn't been such evil upon the face of the earth. Here we go. Daniel chapter 9 and verse 12. And he hath confirmed his words, which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem. I'll read it again. And he have confirmed his words, which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done upon Jerusalem. And that's why all you people trying to have a competition about who struggled the most and all of that. You can't have a competition. It's not a contest. We won. We went through way worse, but like it's not a competition, because we was literally made for that purpose, man. For thy sakes, as it says in the scriptures, for thy sakes, we are killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Now, let me see if I can remember where that is. Here we go. That you people think it's a game. Romans chapter 8 and verse 36. As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Like we ain't faking to be oppressed. We genuinely are. We don't have to try and stage things. We don't have to do psyops to try and make people feel sorry for us, because we went through all this hell. And guess what? People still don't feel sorry for us. And I watched one brother's video yesterday on how these small hats are trying to do they're trying to do psyops. They're talking about doing psyops to try and get pity from people, right? But in order to, if you're an Israelite, in order to have the people feeling any kind of way about you, here's what you're supposed to do. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as how my power commanded me, that you should do so in the land whither you go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which I hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. You're not supposed to be trying to beg it off and doing psyops. The so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, that's the last thing on our mind. Or we want people to leave black people alone and Native American people alone, and stop telling Mexicans that they need to go back over into Mexico, and that they're gonna call ICE on them. So we need to, the international black and brown party, all of us at the secret international that you people seem to think that we have, right? All the stupid idiots that think that we really just made this Hebrew Israelite doctrine up of our own selves at the secret black and brown meeting that we have, you know, under some bridge somewhere that y'all think that we had it. Yeah, which all these people that are in all these different countries somehow managed to all have this meeting together, right? You stupid idiots, man. You think that we just came up with this out of our own selves. We've caught all this hell, and you people still don't feel sorry for us. The last thing on our mind is trying to do a psyop so that you people can feel sorry for us. You ain't gonna, because all the hell that we caught now at all you people's hands, and you still don't care. You don't feel sorry for us. You don't feel guilt for any of the stuff you've done. You feel justified. Because whenever anything goes wrong, all you say is, but what about you? Okay, you say something as soon as a so-called white person does it, but you kill your own people. Okay. So now we can say the same thing to you then? Or you're complaining about two-tier policing, but it's your own people doing the two-tier policing, so shut your mouth. Don't say anything. Or you're complaining about an Edomite getting unalive by an Elam, right? But what about all of the Edomites, unalive Edomites in Russia and Ukraine right now? What about that? You got something to say about that? Huh? You got something to say about that? Because if you're gonna say something about anyone else, you're gonna rant and march. Okay, how come you ain't marching for that then? You're gonna march for that? Because it seems like you are like the Esau is the main projector, man, just like women. I've said this several times in different videos, man, that Esau and all women, no matter what the nation is, they all think the same. They all do the same tricks, man. Gaslighting, projection, hypocrisy, bearing false witness, a rigged game where they say anything in a particular conversation to win that conversation. And if they get into another conversation, they'll go against what they said in the previous conversation if it means that they come out of it looking like they was right. They play it rigged, mate. Especially Esau. Now, I want to go to this because this chapter and these few verses proves that our journey and our path as a nation was destined to be riddled with bad times, man. Like we ain't fake, we ain't putting on a show to go through all of these things. This is genuinely how it is for us until the time comes where we're blessed. Whereas for you people, you're all begging it, man. When you're talking about all your oppression, you're begging it, man. Y'all ain't nowhere near oppressed as we are. You can go to the banks and get a loan, easy work, completely different to how we are. You're able to go to the bank and get a loan, mate. Who can't beg for money? It's not hard, is it? Who can't go to a bank and say, please give me some money? Who would struggle doing that? And then if the bank gives you the amount of money that you're asking for, who couldn't set up some kind of store or some kind of shop that have got basic necessities that people would be able to come through? But in a Jake neighborhood, you don't even see Jake running the corner shop because Jake don't get the loan to start that kind of thing up. Whereas at Elam, at Moabite and Ammonite, they'll get the loan. Right? Jake, we've all got the same skills in this world pretty much as everyone else. If you go on a university course, go to a college course, you're going to see all the different nations on that college course. You're going to see them. But then when it comes to the loan time and going to the bank, they'll try and make it difficult for Jake to do it. Because they don't want Jake to build themselves. And you people all know this, but you're trying to play games, man. And that's why when it goes down and when we're in our power seat, we're not going to pity you. And all you nations wanted to try and compete and play games and wanted to have the Israelite experience, right? Of oppression and try and compete with the story. Well, don't worry. Yahweh's going to give you exactly what you're asking for. Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 1, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all nations with Yahweh thy power have driven thee. So our journey as a nation was to go through blessings, okay, for blessings, which is good times, but the curse as well. And this ain't a game of like a thing that we planned out. Like we didn't deliberately go through the Atlantic slave trade so that hundreds of years later we could say, see, Deuteronomy 28 and 68. No, we went through it, and Deuteronomy 28 and 68 was fulfilled because the children of Israel went through it, as the scriptures say. Like our so-called black women didn't deliberately cut off their hair and make it rough as hell so that they could say, see, we're going through Isaiah 3 and 68. No, it's genuine. We ain't faking it. We don't have to fake. Here's the thing. For us to be faking it, right? All of you other nations would have to be in on the joke, in on the trick. That would mean that all of you are in on it as well. Because all of you nations hate our guts, and every single race has got a racist word for Jake. They got hatred towards the Latinos and Native Americans, right? People trying to make out like the Native Americans are extinct, talking all kind of rubbish out their mouth, right? Did we tell you to do that? Or is that naturally what you want to do? All the hatred that you have against us, everyone's racist, everyone stereotypes us, right? Even people that haven't even ever seen us in their life call us the N-word, right? Did we pay you off to do that so that we could say, see, we're going through Deuteronomy 28 and 37? Did we deliberately make ourselves poor so that we had to go to our enemy for the want of all things, so that we could say, okay, we're going through Deuteronomy 28 and 48, but we have to go to our enemy for the want of all things? Did we do that? No. And it might not be Deuteronomy 28 and 48 that says that. Let's see. No, it is. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in the want of all things, and they shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until they have destroyed it. Did we deliberately let you put a yoke of iron upon our necks when that prophecy was going to get fulfilled? Just so that we could say later on, see, Deuteronomy 28 and 48. No. Because the small hats claim that that's them, but they ain't no pictures that you can see of them in that with that. Yet they're screaming and ranting and raving, anti this, anti that. But all this anti this and anti that they're talking about, they can't go into Deuteronomy the 28th chapter and show every single curse and apply it to themselves. They can't do it. Yet we can do it easily. Like we don't have to beg it to try and make ourselves seem like we're cursed. We are. We just are cursed, man. Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 1, again, it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, right? And thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations with Yahweh thy power have driven thee, and thou shalt return unto Yahweh thy power, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I commanded this day, that thou and thy children Excuse me, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahweh thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all nations with Yahweh thy power. Scatter thee. Did we deliberately scatter ourselves into all of these nations? So that you've got Israelites that have got an English accent, Israelites that have got a Spanish, Italian, German, Australian, French, American, South American, right? Accents. Did we deliberately Cockney, South England, Compton accent, Texan, Southern accents, and all that? Did we deliberately do this just so that we could say, see, where do Israelites? Did we deliberately deliberately not defeat Esau when he tried to put us in captivity so that we could pretend that we're the Israelites later on? No. That's what these Edomites are doing. They're all of a sudden now, you got this guy, Rich Tidwell, saying that so-called white people are the Israelites. All of a sudden now. Where was they all the time before? They've had access to the history books. They've been the ones that are in control of the world this whole time. How comes they couldn't figure out that the Israelites any other time in history? How comes all of a sudden now they're just saying it, man? Now all of a sudden they're talking about some Europeans and the Israelites. How comes they couldn't figure out before? Who was stopping them? Who was stopping them from figuring it out before? No one. No one was stopping them from figuring out anything. And no one's stopping them from figuring out anything now. They're just making it up. They're begging it, man. We don't have to beg it. We are. We're actively living through this because we're the people that are mentioned in this book. And that's why it's so easy for us to break this Bible down and speak about it, because we're not pretending. Everybody else, when they try and pick it up, they're pretending. And that's why you have people saying things that are blatantly lies, like Jesus is God. That's a lie. And you have Muslims and Christians going back and forth, right? And then they'll try and come at Israelites with the same foolishness. But we don't believe none of them foolish things that that Christianity teaches, man. We don't believe none of that. We don't believe pretty much anything that they teach. Most of the things that they say we disagree with 100%, man. We don't. Our doctrine and their doctrine is completely different, man. We don't like their doctrine. Our doctrine and their doctrine have got enough, like pretty much not even similar in any way. Apart from that, they come from the same book, the Bible. But their doctrine, and this is another thing that proves that they're begging it, their doctrine does not use every single Bible verse. They can't make the fact that they can't make the claim that they have that God loves everybody match with how he also destroyed the Edomites. Because whether they say he destroyed the Edomites already or he's going to destroy them, right? That means he don't love them. Because why would he destroy every single one of them then if he loves them? Considering, like, this is so mad. When you understand what the new covenant is, it's the idea and the fact that Yahweh is going to alter the Israelites' minds so that they have no choice but to obey him. When you understand that Yahweh has the power to do that, right? And then you understand that Yahweh is going to destroy the Edomites, it's clear that he doesn't love them. Because why wouldn't he just alter their minds so that they do righteousness, just like how he's going to do with the Israelites? Why wouldn't he do that? If he can alter the Israelites' minds so that they, from the smallest to the greatest, obey him, why can't he do that with every other nation? He can. He just don't want to, right? He can do it, but he's not going to do it because he don't want to do it. Verse 3, that then Yahweh thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all nations with Yahweh thy power have scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out to the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. Did we deliberately make ourselves be in the outmost parts of the earth? No. That was done. That was done by what happened to us, man. And Yahweh thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. Now, some people out there, these Edomites, they begged it and put themselves into the land, right? They put themselves into the land by the force of their own hands. Have they entered under the new covenant by them doing that? No, because they're not the Israelites. When they did that by the force of their hand getting into the land of Israel, they fulfilled a different prophecy than the prophecies that they thought it was fulfilling. They was fulfilling prophecies in Ezekiel, the 36th chapter, from the first verse to like the 7th verse, man. They wasn't fulfilling them returning to the land. They were lying. Verse 6. And Yahweh thy power will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. Has this happened to anybody on the earth yet? No. It's going to happen to us. And that's why the world finds it so offensive when we say that we're the Israelites. If we say we're N-word, they don't say, well, if when we call ourselves the N-word, right, they'll say the N-word, and then we'll say, okay, but you call yourself the N-word, so why can't we say it? Okay, so let us apply that same thing to the small hats calling themselves the Jews. They say that they're Jews. They that say that they're Israelites, right? So we can say it then, that we are. We can make, like, no one's hindered by making a claim to be the children of Israel, you know. Anyone can say that they're the children of Israel, right? Just like how any man alive can say he's a woman. I could say I'm a woman right now. Look, I'll say I'm a woman. Am I though? Am I though? Like, all you have to do is take one look at me and you'd start to realize real quick, you're not a woman. You're a liar. You're a man, mate. And that's what we're doing to the small hats. They're saying that the Israelites, we're looking at them, we're like, what's all them turkey twizzler hair sideburns, man? What's that? What's with the turkey twizzler hair sideburns? I don't think you are Israelite, mate. We're starting to look at them and sift them through prophecy. I think you're lying, geezer. I don't think that you're really up to par when I do run you through the checklist. I don't think that you actually are an Israelite, mate. I think you're lying, mate. Just like how someone can tell you that a dog's a cat, and you start looking at it, you're like, no, it's not. I'm looking at the whiskers, I'm looking at the ears, I'm looking at the fur, I'm looking at the way how it walks, the agility. No, you're lying. You're lying to me. That's not no dog. That's a cat, mate. You know? And that's what they're trying to do to all you people trying to go on like your oppression. You want to try and compete with the Israelites for an oppression story. But after our oppression is over, you're going to get your oppression story that was looking like you're going to be under the curses. All of you nations that hated our guts. Verse 7. And Yahweh thy power put these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Now, can any of you nations out there say you never persecuted us? No, you can't. You can't say that. Unless you want to lie, of course. If you're prepared to lie, then you can say you haven't oppressed us. But these nations don't even say they haven't oppressed us. All they ever say now, because they can't even deny it, all they ever say is, well, everyone's been through slavery at one time or another. Okay, then. So everyone's been through slavery at one point in time or another. Okay, so then don't cry if in the future you go through it then. Or you would have still been swinging on trees in Africa if you didn't get put in slavery. Okay, well, when you get put in it then, if someone was to say, oh, you'd still be making TikToks, and doing stupid food challenges, eating yourself into an early grave if we didn't put you in captivity. You would have burnt the world down and made it all get destroyed in World War III. If we didn't put you in captivity, then don't cry then. If we start looking at your society and how you lived, and when we bring a society that's better than your one, don't look at and frown and cry and complain. When we start analyzing the society that we claim that you lived in, and saying you'd still be this and you'd still be that if you didn't have go through this, we'll be able to say to you nations, there'd have been no flesh left to be saved if we didn't put you in captivity. The people that didn't give no mercy are not going to be given no mercy, just like the scriptures say, man. But I just wanted to do this video on how everyone wants to have their own little oppression story, wants to try and make it like they're all going through hard times and all of this, right? But they have to beg it though. We don't. We're genuinely struggling down here, man. Genuinely. We don't have to fake it. Our struggle is genuine, it's real, man. And on that, I'm going to say shalom to the elect, shalom.